Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and today I'm joined by Angel and Eric.
Schoolgirl.
Hello.
It's summertime, so we're feeling nostalgic for the last blast crew from Days of Our Lives. So we're going to be starting with the beginning of the notorious bet that led to the last blast. So I will roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So, this is the reason why I started watching Days to begin with, is the little bit leading into the actual dance is what caught my eye, because I was getting home early enough where Days was just starting.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this sounds weird to say, but at 15, I still wasn't allowed to watch soap operas, at least in my grandmother's eyes. So I'd be like, "Oh, what's going on there?" And she'd explain, and she'd be like, "Go in the pool, or go eat lunch or something." And then every day I would sit a little longer, and then before we knew it, I was just watching the whole thing with her. And I also started.
And you were in love with Days.
Recording it myself without her knowing. So yeah, I picked this week because it's when the bet starts, but there was a lot of shit going down with Nancy and Craig. Chloe's biological grandfather is in town.
Mm-hmm.
Craig doesn't know that, or he didn't know until now, that Chloe was Nancy's biological child.
Mm-hmm.
That she gave up for birth when she was 19. Craig thinks that it's his kid because they were together then. I feel like the story may have been retconned at some point, because I'm not completely sure, but I feel like the story was Nancy was a virgin and this older man took advantage of her and she got pregnant. And then it was kind of retconned that her and Craig were together. And then this man took advantage of her, but Craig's the father.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like she just had one night where she cheated on him in this conversation, but I thought I remembered that she was raped or something by a coworker of her.
Yeah, that is the story. And I think
that's what I thought, but
because we're kind of in the middle of
I don't know when it changed.
No, I think that was always the story. I think we're kind of in the middle of Craig still finding out all the details. I think once he knows is when he starts to forgive her. It happens pretty quick.
Okay.
Oh God, just seeing .com again, I was like, I miss .com so much. I miss that set.
And then they had there was a scene where Mimi and Belle were not Mimi, sorry. Belle and Chloe were talking, and it's the E's that get to me. And and the music in the background was the music that was playing. If you remember the .com website.
I do, but I don't remember there being music on the website.
So it was you know how websites used to have a beginning, a splash page? Mm-hmm. It was the music on the splash page. So I was like, oh, I remember this so much. I remember they used to have Jan and Belle and Mimi and if this is on the way, if I can find this on the way back machine, I would show you guys. That was an error.
That just goes to show you how popular they were, that they had their own webpage, separate from the official Days of Our Lives page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wonder what the ratings were.
That's what I'm wondering. I wonder if they were second to Passions, because this was around the time Passions would have came out too.
Yeah.
Passions was number one in a specific demo that was teenagers. That would have been the three of us at that point.
Well, two of us.
Oh yeah. I thought you were around our age, Eric.
He's a little older.
Yes, you're with us. No. we claim you.
Sure, I'll be in my 30s again.
So at this point, Philip's still kind of a spoiled rich kid who thinks he could just get whatever he wants. He was punished because of the whole. Do you guys remember the chicken head incident? Jan and Jason left chicken blood or a chicken head on Chloe's
Oh yeah.
porch. But
I
because
remember another
Yeah,
thing that
yeah.
involved blood, but not the chicken head one.
that's coming up, you mean?
That's coming up. Yep.
Yeah, so but Nancy blamed Philip and Philip kind of took the punishment for it. So oh no, I'm wrong, because he was working off a debt, because he actually the previous Philip that was only on for like a month or two
Mhm.
got involved in gambling.
Yeah.
And Victor took care of it. He like blew up the mobster that he got involved with.
Well, no, because I think so, I
Yeah.
think that J. Kenneth Johnson's first appearance was a result of that, because he was laying on the ground
It was after he got beat up by
after he got beat up.
bookie.
Yep.
Mhm.
He was like, yeah. So I think it was Brandon Tyler was the previous Philip.
Mhm.
He gets beat up and then
Yeah.
he lays on the ground. When we see him again, it has Philip laying on the ground like this, and then it has
Yeah.
the credit of the recast on the bottom of him.
Right. And
I remember that so well.
he had like scars on his head and he had to have surgery or whatever. So Victor took care of it, and he basically was like, you're going to pay off the debt to me by working it off in the stables. So he's
That's
apparently
sweet.
paid off his debt, and he thinks he's entitled to a brand new car.
Of course.
To be rich.
Yeah, right. Not to mention that he walks in on his father on the phone being like, he wants to bury Nicole. Like, what's that about?
Yeah.
So there's also Twitter.
Meanwhile, this is like the summer leading into when him and Nicole kind of started to become like romantically involved, sort of. I was fast forwarding that part because I thought it was icky.
I liked it. He had some good quips.
We didn't see Mimi in this go
No, we
round,
didn't.
which I thought was weird.
Not once.
So Belle is trying to convince Chloe to A, stay in town, and B, go to the dance. And Chloe's kind of like on the fence on both. But when she finally agrees that maybe she will stay in town, that's when she like runs to the hospital and she realizes that Nancy's telling Craig the truth. And she even tries to cover for Nancy. She's like, oh yeah, she's like, we're not close enough, but like I could see how you would think that like you feel like I'm your daughter. And Nancy's like, no, I'm done. I'm telling him everything. We find out through like a private conversation with Chloe and her grandfather that Nancy's mother was kind of jealous of her relationship with her father and would actually hit her if she was acting out or whatever. That's a detail I didn't remember.
Yeah.
There is, so later on, once Chloe's like has friends and she's kind of popular, I guess, there's a scene where she's remembering her foster life with one of her foster families, and it looks like she's being abused, like she gets pushed around by the father, and that never really went anywhere. I thought that scene was like placed because we were going to find out that Chloe was abused at some point, but it never really went anywhere. I wonder if that was like a drop storyline.
It probably was. They dropped random stories all the time.
Yeah, like Caprice.
And Caprice, that still bugs me. 22
That
years.
still bugs me too.
That was my first experience with the drop storyline. I'm still not over it.
And there was 2 Caprices, weren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I could accept.
They
That they
recast it,
I just couldn't accept that they dropped the story.
Went nowhere. Yeah.
You got me all mad again. Now I forgot where I was.
Chloe. Something about Chloe.
So I was during the whole video game tournament, I was paying attention to the screens because I was like, are they even on? But they were, because I saw little things floating, but I'm like, they're not really playing these games. They're not connected. They don't have the budget for that.
Yeah.
So they base Philip and Sean are playing video games, and Jason decides to play into, I guess, Philip's whole gambling addiction by saying that they should make a bet, and the loser has to ask Ghoul Girl, aka Chloe, to the Last Blast Dance.
Me.
Sean is like against it because he's friends with Chloe and he thinks that's stupid. But
He's
also
interested in Belle.
he's gonna be jet skiing with Bo apparently, so he's not even going to the dance.
Yay, go Bo!
But he decides to. I guess I don't know what they decide. Like that he's gonna cancel his trip if he loses, but he participates in the tournament. Hope is pregnant with Zach.
Mm-hmm.
But for the longest time, well, we didn't think it was JT. We knew about the baby switch.
Yeah.
But this is the whole JT Zach storyline. Poor JT.
I love that story.
R.I.P.
Wait, did he die? No, Zach died. JT.
No, Zach. Yeah. Oh, wait, who's she pregnant with? Zach or JT?
She's pregnant with Zach.
Zach, but
Okay.
she gets JT.
Yeah.
In the switch.
I was saying R.I.P.
But then
to
JT gets taken away.
Zach.
Zach.
Yeah. R.I.P. Zach.
I always thought it was funny.
Hardly
that-
knew you.
so Lexi named him Isaac, and then they just like made the name White by calling him Zach.
That's funny.
So the girls are not aware of this bet, obviously.
Except for Jan.
Except for Jan, yeah.
Of course.
Jan.
Jan's involved in all that.
I always hated Jan. I always felt like Chloe could beat the shit out of her. Like I was like, just hit her.
Yeah, Chloe Chloe towers over Jan. Like, come on, like she could have just done bop,
Jan was very mean.
There is a
Really
scene
is.
where,
and then she gets psychotic.
She's very mean.
later on where I guess Mimi and Jan put like a dead rat in Chloe's locker, and Chloe like waits after school and like basically pins Jan to the ground and rubs the rat in Jan's face.
That's right.
And that's what I'm saying. Chloe could beat the shit out of Jan. I don't know why she was like so like afraid of her.
I don't
There
know
was
why
sometimes I
anybody
just
was
wanted to
friends
grab
with
Jan by her
Jan.
hand and like bash her head into the locker.
So it's like Eric Cartman. You don't know why anybody's friends with Eric Cartman on South Park. Like there isn't really a real reason why they're
Like
friends
he's
with
just
Eric
nasty.
Cartman. Just like the way they're friends with Jan. It's like a TV trope. Like you're friends with a mean
Right.
person for no reason, even though you should not be friends with a mean person.
Right. She's so mean.
It's like a teen hierarchy. Like she rules with fear. Believe. I don't know.
Like I feel like she has no redeeming qualities.
No, she doesn't, honestly.
No, and then she turns psycho. Well, there was something.
She's more redeemable
later.
in Psycho.
There was something later where like you're supposed to feel
Yeah.
bad for her, but instead, like, nah, that's not gonna happen.
With this,
Yeah, with
Jan
her friend.
or
Jan, with
Heather?
this Jan, yeah.
Oh, right.
With this Jen, yeah. With
Yeah.
something about the mom. So
Oh, yeah,
around
Yeah.
the time of the Tropical Temptation, that a little
Yeah.
after it, yeah.
yeah. I always hated that they made her name Jan Britney Spears. I'm like, don't do that.
I didn't know about the Britney part.
You didn't? Ugh, I was just like,
I know it was like,
see
oh,
what you're trying to do, but
oh,
don't do that.
like, oh, Spears, okay. Yeah, we'll just pick a random name that's not like the pop star. I'm like, oh, whoa, wait a minute.
They did that on purpose because Britney was like the height of her fame at that point.
Right.
So yeah, that was pretty much it. The bet is now in play. I don't know how many games they have to play to like for somebody to win.
They didn't say anything about that.
I
Yes,
remember
that's 2 out of 3. I don't know.
No, it's definitely more than 3.
That's
they're playing
just a random like thing that I just say. That's 2
Yeah.
out of 3.
Because I feel like they play video games for like 2 months before the dance.
We saw Elena
Oh,
and
we did
John.
a random
John was being
flashback.
crazy. He was Soldier Black.
Yeah, and I only put that in because Belle was in that scene. It really didn't amount to anything on Belle's end. Bo and Hope got a new house, which is Jack and Jennifer's old house.
Yeah.
But I guess we're supposed to think it's a different house. So they're painting and setting up, and Belle keeps like giving Sean very heavy, not so subtle hints that she wants him to ask her to the dance, and he's just like, I might not go.
No, I'm not
She like basically like pulls a compliment out of him to say that she's cute. And then she's like, well, you might want to ask a cute girl before all the cute girls are asked to the dance.
Wink, wink.
They were
And
definitely
again,
trying to
that's nothing
do.
about it.
They
I
were
might not-
trying to do how Bo and Hope got together. I feel like, in that now that I've seen the Bo and Hope past, it seems very much like that kind of writing.
Oh yeah, I definitely saw.
Mhm.
They definitely promoted them as like the new Bo and Hope, and I
Yeah,
did like them. They weren't. I like Philip and Chloe better, but I did like them. But
I
I
like
always
right.
it's kind of watered down. It's not the same as Bo and Hope. Like,
Yeah, it
I
wasn't.
like that. So there's a point where Mimi, not, I keep saying Mimi, Chloe and Belle were at the hospital and we saw Sammy,
mhm.
Yes, yes.
and they had to like kind of no, or was it Sean and Belle that were in the hospital?
It was Sean and Belle.
Yeah, and then Sammy was there, and then they made it a point to say, "This is my, oh my gosh, my cousin, my sister Belle, and my cousin Sean."
Right.
They made it a point to let you know, hey, this woman is related to the both of them, but they're not related at all.
Mhm.
And that guy's name was Frank, right? That she introduced him to. I thought.
Larry.
Larry.
That-
I remember him being around for a while. He was involved with Sammy for a bit.
Well, he was involved in the Brandon storyline because I think Abe shot him by accident, and that's why he's in a wheelchair. And
Yeah.
Brandon was like trying to use him to take down Abe because I don't know, he blamed Abe for like his home life being bad because I think the story was like Faye had an affair with Abe and that's why his father was drunk and abusive.
And Brandon is
Abe's son
Yeah.
from that affair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they never brought Brandon back as somebody else through the years.
Yeah, they do mention him. They
They mention him all the time.
Theo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
He's
Theo comes
definitely
back
the
here.
superior Walker sibling. I don't know why they tried it so many times with Taylor. It never worked. It
Yeah,
worked in the
I don't
90s,
really
get it.
never did.
I never got why. Like, okay, so I liked the first Taylor. Like, she was fine. I liked her fine, but then once it got like, we're gonna bring Taylor back, but we don't know which actor should play her. So I didn't like when she came back.
Yeah, they had 3 Taylors.
I liked Natalia.
I didn't like any of them. Like, I just didn't like that character. I felt like she was unnecessary.
Yeah.
She added nothing, and she did nothing when she was on.
Both times. I feel like
Yeah.
she was supposed to be like a foil
All
for
3
Eric
times.
and Nicole. Well, yeah, well,
Right.
I say both because she didn't actually like
Right.
leave the show. They just changed actresses. Yeah, not really a fan.
Mhm.
I did like the sweet scene that even though Nancy and Craig are kind of at odds right now, that he took a moment to kind of see how Chloe was doing. Like he had like a soft moment. He was just like, "How you doing?" And
Yeah.
Chloe was just like, "I'm glad you came home." I always liked Chloe and Craig's relationship. That's
Yeah,
why it was like
same.
so satisfying when he ended up being her father. I was just like, "Yes, I'm so happy."
I know, I was happy too.
Weren't there like flashbacks between Philip and Chloe?
All right. So that was after Sean's birthday party. She freaked out because she sang, like, Sean, I think, played the piano and she sang an opera song. And everybody was just like so amazed at how like good she could sing that they were just kind of like, and they didn't clap. And Chloe thought
Yeah.
maybe she was horrible. So she ran out of the pub and she went to the pier and she was like crying. And Philip found her and he told her like how great she sounded. And I think he took her glasses off and he was like, "Your eyes are really pretty," or whatever. So that's what she was flashing back to.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it gets to the point where Brady comes and they both sing, I'm gonna tune out.
Maybe we'll skip that. Maybe
Yeah,
when
we'll skip
Brady
it.
comes, we'll just skip
Yeah,
that.
even when like because like you showed me an episode from I think it was like the Christmas after 9/11,
Right, and they sang at the end.
and they sang, and I was just like going 10 10 10 10 10 10.
You didn't want to hear the Christmas song?
I always like when they sang.
Oh my god. Okay, so here's why I don't like non if it has a point like the Nurses Ball, I'll watch it. If it's something like
Okay.
the Nurses Ball, I'll watch it. If it's something like that's a charity event or something like that gets together with the story.
Mhm.
If it's non-diegetic, if it's something that doesn't seem to fit, I will not watch it. Now, musicals are different because they're supposed to be like this. I love musicals, but if you're on a soap, if you're on a TV show, if you know, if it's that Grey's Anatomy episode, not happening with me. Nope. It's something like where my mind can't suspend disbelief with singing on a show. So
Yeah, the Sound of, do you guys remember the Sound of Music in the park where
yeah.
they
Oh my gosh, that lives rent free in my head in a bad way. Where yes, I hated that.
that was even when I was like, all right, enough, stop it. Just stop it.
I don't. It did get on my nerves. It did get on my nerves that they connected them through the music. I feel like they were like, oh, since they sing together, they belong together, type thing, which was annoying because I was a Philip and Chloe fan.
They tried to make it
But,
like
yeah, I never did love
the
Brady and Chloe
music was like
together.
the window to like her soul, and she was like holding back with Philip. But if she would just like let go
Right.
and really put real emotion into it, that she could really be great. And it was stupid. I hated it.
Yes,
And Brady was like an asshole
Mac and Billy.
too. Like Brady was an asshole for like his first 2 years. So
Yeah,
he got on
first
my
with
nerves.
Marlena, and then he would like yell at Chloe.
I never really warmed up to Brady.
He's like, "You're fake."
That's why I like when Eric Martsolf plays him, because
Yeah, I never really liked
lean
Brady.
more into like the stuff that like the stuff that he was with before Chloe.
Yeah, and Eric
Yeah.
can sing, and I'm glad that they never went back there.
Good. He shouldn't have to.
I'm surprised they never went back there.
Honestly, I think Nadia and Eric have better friend chemistry than romantic.
Yeah, I think they realized that too.
I would have been all for a Rex and Chloe relationship, since it's the same actor. Just as like a wink, but not if they were gonna make all of a sudden Rex can sing, because that wasn't
now
his
Philip
character.
and Chloe are together, but it's the wrong
Yeah,
Philip.
right.
So.
But yeah, I'm excited to relive the dance. Hopefully
Now,
with
what
some
year
news.
is this?
What year is this?
I'm
2000.
excited to watch this stuff again because I didn't
because there was a
remember.
99 dance, I think.
I didn't remember what year this was, when it started, and all that stuff. So I'm excited to see.
I feel like they retcon. There was a dance before this in the fall, and I feel like they retcon that as being a last blast, but it wasn't. But they reference it, because even in these scenes, Sean and Belle danced some 70s song that I think they danced to at that
It
dance.
was, because I have the clip up.
It was a Bee Gees song that they
It was
danced
a Bee
to.
Gees song. I think it was More Than a Woman.
Yeah. But that was a whole themed like dance. Like everybody got dressed up like in 70s attire for that dance.
I just want to say one thing real quick. I wasn't going to say it, but I'll say it. There seemed to have been a discourse on Twitter that I think of Craig and Nancy as what are their names? Doug and Julie, and I got made fun of it a lot. So I kind of still think that, because they are as messy as Doug and Julia were in the 60s. So if you're going to come at me, my handle's right here. So.
Okay. Well, once they kind of mellowed out once Chloe came around, they weren't really.
Yeah, they did.
Or anything.
Yeah.
They were troublemakers.
Yeah, like their first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their first 3 years were like troublemakers.
Yeah.
And then they gave them a serious storyline. This was probably their first serious storyline once Chloe got involved.
Mm-hmm.
And even
before that, it was all like antics.
And even this is kind of like the peak of their storyline. After this, they're just like happy, and they're just kind of like talk tos. They don't really have.
Yeah, and then Ron Carlivati had to go and ruin it.
Yeah, I flip flop on the whole Craig being gay thing, because it makes, I don't know. To me, like, it makes sense because the actor's gay in real life, and like watching him in 2000, I'm like, yeah, I could tell. I always felt like there was something different.
I love that storyline actually because that happens so frequently in life that I feel like
Yeah.
it was a real life thing that a lot of people come out so much later in life and marry somebody that they're close to and are friends with for years, and it's very relatable, I feel like, to a lot of people. So I love that storyline. Thought it was
I feel
great.
like if you're using
Very well written.
what we saw from these clips in that story, that they were 19 when all of this happened, they didn't know who they were. They didn't
Right.
explore who they were with other people. So to be together since you were 18, 19 years old, you don't really
Yeah,
know.
maybe
You two do make a great point. I think what I didn't like about the storyline was the Nancy part of it, where they kind of disrespected her in a way.
Yeah, I didn't like that part either.
Yeah, and then they had her with Clyde for really no reason.
Right.
So
I heard or read somewhere that Nancy's coming back in October.
I did hear that.
nice.
I don't know what that means. Like, I would like to think that
why
that
would
means
she be
Chloe's
back?
coming back, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why is she back? Chloe's not here, unless they're gonna bring in Joy. I don't know.
Finally.
I laughed too.
I want them to forget about Joy. Who cares about this girl? She's never been on. Nobody cares.
It's probably to bring a sore ass Parker back.
Oh,
Yeah, probably. That would make sense.
Can he date Holly?
He
Or are they
can't.
No, they're siblings, right?
They're siblings.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
They'll probably just do what they do what they did with like Mimi and Jan and Chloe, and just bring on people who are like tangentially related to Salem in some ways, or are just going to Salem High, because they did have a dance. The new teens had a dance.
That was nothing like our dance.
No, it wasn't.
Unless they want to fix it and finally make Parker Phillips' child again, and then maybe Holly could date him, right?
That's where the story is. Yes. Oh, come on, Jamie, do it, Jamie. You know you're.
Or just bring back Tyler Pocket. That's Mimi and Phillips' son. Like,
what about JT?
Nobody wants Pocket.
Now they would have to have slowed down his aging a bit, because he would be like in his 20s, right?
Yes, if he was, he'd be 24.
Yeah.
But that's fine. They can make him 17. They can
make him 17.
Play with it.
They can play with it. They can
many
teach
random
us.
kids
It's
out
not
there.
on screen. I wouldn't have an issue with it.
They made Nicholas Alamine a full-grown adult that could have an affair with Kate, and then de-aged him when Carly came back. They like made him
right.
like an early 20-something.
So bizarre.
But yeah, that's all I have. I like seeing these characters again. I miss them.
Mm-hmm.
As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great day. Bye.
Bye.